Yeah, they said he was suicidal, and he started talking about he wanted to bring a Bible with him or some shit.
Yeah, you heard that right. Foolio's killers are falling apart and fast. What was supposed to be a routine sentencing turned into full-blown courtroom chaos. One of the defendants collapsed right there in front of the judge after getting hit with a life sentence. His body went limp, crashing to the floor as the courtroom gasped. His mother screamed. He sobbed. Another sat frozen, eyes locked on the wall, like he'd just realized he'd never walk free again. And the most jaw-dropping moment? The alleged triggerman tried to fire his attorney and told the judge he wanted to represent himself in a death penalty case. That's right. A man facing execution wants to go it alone in a courtroom built to bury him. But before we show you that breakdown, the literal fall of a killer, you need to understand what they did and why it's sending shockwaves. Through Florida's legal system, Julio Foolio-born Charles Jones wasn't just a rapper. He was one of Jacksonville's most controversial, feared, and talked about figures. But he was also a son, a friend, and on June 22nd he was in Tampa simply trying to celebrate his birthday. Less than 24 hours later he was dead, gunned down outside a hotel in a brutal, calculated ambush. Authorities say it was no random shooting. Foolio was hunted. Police allege 3 men tracked him through social media and GPS before executing their plan. Surveillance footage captured it all. 3 shooters creeping through a dark parking lot, rifles drawn, zero hesitation. They opened for at least 31 rounds into Foolio's vehicle. He was in the front passenger seat. He never had a chance to escape. This wasn't just a murder, it was a statement. And now in a Florida courtroom, that statement is echoing back on the ones who made it. From fearless to finished, the collapse of Foolio's killers might just be beginning.
Let's look at this video. This is at the hotel, and you can see the shooters are getting in position for their planned out murder, and they are shooting at Charles now. And you can see that he's a passenger in that car that's moving and trying to flee. And again, they're still shooting at him. He's the right front passenger in that vehicle.
The suspects weren't careless, they were calculated. They had studied Foolio's routine and knew exactly where he'd be that night. One was said to be a friend of his ex. Another, a young woman named Alicia Andrews, pregnant at the time allegedly, trailed Foolio from club to club, sending text updates to the group like a lookout in a military operation. These weren't hardened criminals. Most were just kids barely out of high school.
4 guys, 1 girl. The girl's pregnant currently, which makes it even crazier. One of the guys, when they arrested him, I guess he had a gun to his head. Did you hear this whole story?
Yeah, they said he was suicidal, and he started talking about he wanted to bring a Bible with him or some.
This group, ranging in age from 18 to 30, is accused of carrying out one of the most high-profile rap-related killings in recent memory. Their trial is currently underway, and the stakes couldn't be higher. Some of the defendants are facing the possibility of capital punishment, with the state making it clear it's not taking this case lightly. Prosecutors have announced they are actively pursuing the death penalty.
All signs that things are gonna go very bad. Like, you got a girl in it, she's pregnant, he's suicidal, wants a Bible. It's not going good.
That going good for who?
For the killers.
Things took an even darker turn when one of the main defendants, Rashad Murphy, decided to fire his attorney. Despite facing a first-degree murder charge that could potentially lead to the death penalty, Murphy insisted on representing himself. The court warned him. His lawyer warned him. Still, he pressed forward, filing a request for a speedy trial and formally dismissing his legal counsel. In a bizarre twist, Murphy also began sending handwritten letters to the judge claiming he was being treated as though he were already guilty. He alleged he was being denied phone privileges, barred from sending letters, and prevented from preparing his own defense. Desperate, he pleaded for access to legal documents. To some observers, it all seemed like a strategic ploy. To others, it looked like the unraveling of a man buckling under the weight of his actions. And perhaps he was, for the evidence against him is reportedly overwhelming.
Well, it's not like they're going to get off for this.
No, they got so much evidence against them. Like, when you go through it, you can pretty much just, all right, pick a prison. Where do y'all want to go? It's just not, you can't even come up with a defense for them.
Investigators gathered ring camera footage showing the suspects loading rifles into duffel bags, GPS data from their phones tracking each stop. Foolio made text messages between the suspects planning the murder beforehand, and bullet casings from the crime scene that matched firearms recovered from their homes.
They found bullets in that kid's house. They found one of the murder weapons. They found bullets matching from the shooting scene. This kid kept collectibles from the case, like mad inside of his house.
As prosecutors laid out the case in court, one of the defendants, seated just feet from Foolio's grieving mother, suddenly collapsed. Though cameras weren't permitted to record the moment, courtroom witnesses described him falling out of his chair, trembling and gasping, "I can't breathe." Whether it was fear, guilt, or the crushing realization of a life behind bars, no one can say for sure. But one thing was certain, the pressure was closing in. Let's pause here. This case isn't just another story of gang retaliation or a rap feud turned deadly. It's a reflection of how the internet has turned real-life violence into digital spectacle, where disrespecting the dead is a shortcut to streams and clout, and grieving families are forced to endure their loved ones being mocked in viral songs. Foolio once did this to others, and eventually it came back around. Now 6 lives are shattered. 1 is gone forever. 5 may spend the rest of their lives behind bars. One of them is expecting a child who might grow up visiting their mother through a pane of glass. But what's more shocking is the depth of the evidence trail and how one defendant may have unintentionally implicated them all in a bid for social media attention. Prosecutors say Fio's murder wasn't impulsive. It was a calculated execution involving coordinated surveillance, multiple vehicles, interstate travel, and high-powered rifles. The planning started long before they ever reached Tampa. Surveillance footage captured Rashad Murphy, Davian Murphy, and Sean Gathite in a residential neighborhood loading large duffel bags, later confirmed to contain at least 2 assault-style weapons. So where was this footage recorded?
We have evidence of the defendant's co-defendants very clearly meeting at Sean Gathite's house on his video camera, where they are loading up big bags that are definitely big enough to hold these assault rifles that were used in this case.
One of the most chilling aspects of Fio's final hours is that they were essentially live-streamed by Foolio himself, who posted videos of his birthday celebration on Instagram in real time. Investigators say Alicia Andrews and Isaiah Chance lookouts, posing as friends, were monitoring his every move from the club to the after-party and ultimately to the hotel where he was gunned down.
Jones was in town celebrating his birthday and posted on his social media his locations several times throughout that night. Surveillance video was critical in this investigation, as suspects were seen on video following Jones from location to location.
The shooters didn't drive straight into the hotel lot, they waited across the street, watching and waiting. At 4:38 a.m. 3 of them stepped out of their vehicle and approached the home 2 suites. Armed with a handgun and 2 rifles, they unleashed a barrage of 31 rounds into Fio's SUV. 3 other people inside the vehicle were also struck, but miraculously all survived.
This barrage of gunfire also struck 3 additional victims who miraculously survived this incident.
Why? What could drive 5 young people, one of them pregnant, to orchestrate and carry out an execution-style killing on a public street? According to prosecutors and police, the motive was rooted in classic street revenge. One of the alleged shooters had a brother known as Spaz, who was reportedly killed by someone affiliated with Foolio's crew. This wasn't random, it was retaliation.
I don't think he had nothing to do with the murder though.
No, I mean, it's actually pretty ugly what happened. Because one of the suspects, their brother, Spaz, was allegedly killed by one of Foolio's friends.
Yeah.
Foolio rapped about him, and I believe there's a video of him urinating on his grave.
There's multiple videos of Foolio dissing this guy.
Foolio didn't just rap about Spaz's death, mocked it, even appearing in videos that showed someone urinating on Spaz's grave. That's not music, that's a provocation. A declaration of war. So the 5 suspects headed to Tampa, not with a diss track, but with guns, bullets, burner phones, and a plan. But here's the twist: they didn't even try to cover their tracks. In fact, they practically handed the evidence to investigators. Alicia Andrews' phone was tracked from Jacksonville to Tampa, mirroring Fio's every stop that night. License plate readers picked up the vehicles used in the ambush. Hotel surveillance captured the suspects before and after the shooting. Forensic testing linked spent shell casings at the scene to rifles later recovered from Rashad Murphy's home. One suspect even kept incriminating souvenirs, bullet fragments, and shell casings at his house. And the text messages? They told their own story, including one chilling message sent after the murder: "I'm coming home. My thirst is finally quenched."
They were caught on license plate cameras. He used his mama's car. His mama said, "I had that car and my son had it."
That's how confident they were, bordering on arrogant. Rashad Murphy in particular seemed convinced he could outsmart the system. He left his own phone at home to avoid tracking, but relied on everyone else's devices instead. Then he made his boldest move yet: he asked to represent himself in court. Even his own attorney warned the judge it was a terrible idea, but Murphy insisted, arguing that jail conditions were preventing him from properly preparing his defense. Then came his next tactic: the insanity plea. Back in November, Murphy announced he would pursue an insanity defense. But here's the legal problem: you can't claim insanity when the evidence shows careful, deliberate planning of a murder. That level of organization is the very definition of intent, the exact opposite of insanity.
This guy's nuts. I think that's why. He wants to defend himself, which is insane in a death penalty case. And then he actually has said he may use an insanity defense, which also is insane in itself when the facts show otherwise, that these guys had meticulous planning and attempts to cover up the crime. And when you have that, good luck in getting an insanity defense, because to sustain an insanity defense, you have to have an established medical condition and you have to not know the difference between right and wrong. But when you meticulously plan and then try to cover up your tracks, that shows you knew the difference between right and wrong. It shows you knew what you did was illegal. And when you want to just try to put forward an insanity defense as your own lawyer, it doubles the level of difficulty.